Well, la-ti-da. Here we are. Is this thing on?
Yes, we're live.
What are we drinking?
Mike, today is St. Paddy's Day, and you're very lucky that you wore green or else I would have pinched you. But in celebration, we will be having some whiskey.
All right, let's go. I used to drink whiskey a lot, actually. Back in the era of Mad Men.
There you go. That should be enough for an afternoon. Yeah, I feel like if I ever worked in Mad Men at times, I would not be able to function. They'd be drinking like a full bottle a day.
Yeah, when I was younger, when we first started our agency, I drank a lot of whiskey, but these days it just sits on the shelf except for days like this.
Yes. Salud.
Happy St. Paddy's Day. You drank the whole thing?
I thought we were shooting it. Oy, oy, oy. I don't have the tea yet, but I need the water.
Oh, that hits different.
Yeah, you're supposed to sip it.
Oh.
Hey, everyone.
Speaking of St. Paddy's Day, we got green tea.
Oh, yeah.
None of that breakfast tea this time. Oh, man.
You good?
That got me good.
A lot going on, a lot to talk about. One of the big topics, I guess, today is it's officially day one of March Madness.
That should be the headline story today. It's not. It gets an honorable mention. But Michigan, which is one of the teams I cheer for, started the day off against Colorado State, was it?
Yep, I think they're still playing, or maybe just wrapped up.
Oof, don't tell me who won.
Oh, yeah, I gotta see. I filled out a bracket. Mike told me he filled out a bracket.
Yeah, who did you pick to win it?
I got Gonzaga.
You went with the safe choice.
I feel like I do that every year, and every year I say the same thing. I'm always like, I feel like I did a good job filling out my bracket, and then every year, by like day 2, my bracket's destroyed.
Yeah. I feel like last year I went with the ones that I thought were like no-brainers, and then there were so many upsets. So this year I got a little bit more creative and picked a few upsets, and I'll see if any of them hit.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite time of year. We had like daylight savings over the weekend, so a lot more sunlight. It's almost playoff season for basketball, hockey.
That's right.
We're spoiled with March Madness, so a lot to talk about, a lot going on.
We could just talk about sports the entire time because we're in fantasy basketball together.
Yes. Oh, and that's happening too. Yeah, it's like fantasy playoffs for a lot of leagues. So
yeah. I
feel like we do talk about sports.
Maybe I will just mention that I'm in first place in both of the leagues that we share together.
Well, we'll see in the playoffs. I'm second in one of the leagues we're together, but yeah, Mike's been crushing it this year.
Yeah, we both got a bye week, so that's respect.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Let's get into it.
Well, speaking of sports, we were going to talk about Tom Brady too. So, I don't know, maybe a lot of you guys don't follow sports that much, or specifically the GOAT, Tom Brady. But before we get into the news, we wanted to mention that he decided to come out of retirement and come back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that's newsworthy in our worlds this week.
I feel like even if you're not a sports fan, you would have heard of this story about him coming back. But yeah, he announced he's coming back to the field on Sunday afternoon, and everyone's just having a fun old time on Twitter about his 2-month retirement.
Well, the funniest part about it, funny for us, not so funny for the person who purchased this, but his last touchdown football was auctioned off on Saturday for over $500,000. And then on Sunday, he announced that he was coming out of retirement to play another season. So whoever dropped $500,000 on that football,
dude,
they got to be hating themselves. I almost have to wonder if Brady was in on that. Like, if he let the wrong person know that he was coming out of retirement, and they're like, okay, he's coming on Sunday, we got to sell this thing on Saturday.
I'd be so pissed. Like, imagine buying something for $500K and then literally within a day or a sleep, it's worth nothing.
It's just another football at this point.
Exactly.
Unless it's
I'd actually play with it. I'd be like, let's play football with this football.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, he's coming back. I almost wonder if he planned it all along and he just retired to get more hype around the Brady brand launch, which we did talk about on this show about a month ago. So who knows? At the end of the day, the Brady brand product looks a little bit whack anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe he realized that. Maybe he got bored at his kids' football games and just decided he wanted to get back into his own action. Who knows? Dude,
something about the GOATs. And I feel like all these athletes got to stop unretiring because it's coming out of style. Like, MJ did it. Floyd Mayweather has done it like 14 times with boxing. Brady's done it. So I'm kind of annoyed. But it's cool to see him back on the field. It's just hilarious that it took him 2 months to be like, I'm coming back.
Yeah, and then you got LeBron, who just like never ages.
I got mad
He's
respect
just here
for LeBron.
forever.
Yeah, because I mean, he actually, I think, wants to play and doesn't retire and decides to come back.
Anyways, I feel like our listeners are getting bored with the sport, so we got to move on.
Let's do it.
If you're new here, every week we'll come at you with the main story covering some sort of marketing angle. It could be a summary of new tech. It could be pop culture. It could be something about a new tech platform or whatever it may be. But either way, it's going to be interesting. We go live every Thursday like we are right now at 12:30 Mountain Standard, 11:30 Pacific, or 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. Or it's available the next day on Friday, anywhere you listen to podcasts. So check it out, Apple, Spotify, if you've ended your Spotify boycott at this point, or even anywhere else, honestly. The first actual story, now that we've gotten through the honorable mentions and the intro on the whiskey, the first actual story is that Instagram is now adding parental controls after backlash towards Meta for their lack of moderation of content for kids and teenagers. So they just launched new parental supervision tools in the US, but soon to be global. And essentially this gives more control to parents. So technically the teenager has to invite their parent to supervise their account, and then the parent gets a whole dashboard of tools to be able to monitor things like how much time their child is spending on the app, what type of accounts they're following or are following them, and even like hours in the day that they can even have access to it and stuff like that. So I think like there's probably a whole lot of different ways that you can look at this. One is that it's mostly just virtue signaling from Instagram because they were called out for a lack of moderation. But at the end of the day, it is a positive thing, especially when I think about it as a parent of a toddler. She does not have access to Instagram yet, but when she does, I absolutely want to know who's talking to her, who's sliding into her DMs, what she's looking at, and stuff like that. So in that sense, I'm pretty happy. And I also know, there's a lot of ethical brands out there, a lot of ethical marketers, but there's also a lot of unethical people creating content and trying to manipulate even purchase decisions or follow decisions from young people that don't have a lot of judgment.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think part of me, I've never been a parent. I have been a teenager once. So the realist in me and I guess like the rebel in me would be like, this is not going to work. I don't know if it is virtual signaling from Meta or they genuinely have like good intentions with rolling this out, but I think I'm just more curious to see how it's going to work, if it's going to work, because I remember when I was a teenager, the last thing I ever wanted to do was involve my parents with anything I was doing. And at the time, I guess it was the internet before there were social platforms. But when the internet came into my life, it's like this fascinating world of learning stuff, discovering things, and it was super cool. And I kind of just wanted to endeavor on it on my own. So I think a lot of teenagers who are exploring social media and Instagram, there's so much cool things on there. But like you said, it can also be pretty frightening from a parent's perspective to see what they could run into. So I hope it works.
I think it will.
Yeah.
Anytime that you take power out of the hands of a tech giant that is very profit driven and put them in the hands of families who obviously know better for their kids, I think that's a win for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really know the timeline, but yeah, I'm just curious to see what it'll all look like.
Yeah, time will tell.
Cool.
Do you want to take us into the next one?
Let's do it. So this is kind of another fun story. So who remembers when 97 Mike Tyson did the infamous ear biting of Evander Holyfield?
When were you born, by the way?
I was 93, so I would have been 4. But it's one of the most iconic sports moments in basically history, because you got like this legend Mike Tyson. I don't know what came over him, but he just like was boxing Evander Holyfield. It was a huge fight. Yeah. Leaned in and decided to take a chunk out of Evander Holyfield's ear. He did it, I think, twice in the same fight, and I think on the last bite he actually got like a chunk of his ear, spat it out. It was
delicious.
Well, he would say it was delicious, but all that to say, he has decided to create a new cannabis brand and calling it Mike's Bites, which basically is an ear-shaped edible weed candy that he's now selling.
And he claims it's delicious.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a tagline, but he's like, these ears actually taste delicious.
Yeah, so it's an ear-shaped edible, but it actually also has like a bite mark out of it too.
Yeah, Tyson's a weird guy to start with, like from collecting tigers and just, like, I just feel like he's a weird guy to start, but this is taking it to a whole different level. From a marketing perspective, I think it's quite funny and quite genius, because he like, I mean, he's a great boxer, but I think that moment kind of defined a huge part of his sports career, and now he's, I guess, trying to cash in on it with these ear-shaped weed candies.
I wonder if Evander Holyfield's into it, because like they apparently made up over time, and they're like on good terms, and obviously I feel like he had to like let the guy know before he did it, you know.
Totally.
Maybe he's even in on it, like from a money standpoint too. Who knows?
I think they did make up, because there's an article I read that said, I guess Evander Holyfield forgave him. I don't know if I could forgive anyone for biting a check off my ear, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has some sort of stake in these edible candies.
Yeah, Mike bites.
He's changed quite a bit from when he was in his prime.
Yeah, the man's a legend though, regardless. Okay, third and final story of the day is all about Skeet, otherwise known as Pete Davidson. The headline is, Pete Davidson just needs some space. So do we think Kanye will try to get on board? Hard to say, but Pete Davidson is heading to space, literally heading to space, not just getting space from the Kardashians or from all the online shade from Kanye. He's getting on Bezos' spaceship and he's going to space. Only for 11 minutes, apparently. That's as long as it lasts. But he's the only one on the flight that gets to go for free. Everyone else has to pay a lot of money for their seat. But he's going to go up there. I think he just did some skit on SNL too, called Mars or something, and he was in a spacesuit. So maybe that was a practice run. Bezos liked it, and he was like, "Yeah, you can come, bro." Yeah. But he's going to be outside the stratosphere or whatever, in the solar system for...
He's just like, peace out. I literally need to get out of this planet and
go
somewhere else.
Yep, so he'll be riding it out March 23rd on Blue Origin, which is the name of the space company that Bezos founded. And he'll be back soon enough. I'm sure the Kardashians made sure that it was a quick trip, because obviously in April their new show is dropping. So they need to be making all these PR stunts to make sure that it gets all the hype that they want it to have and more.
Watch Kanye try to get on board. So let me in here.
Yeah, well, if he wanted to, we wouldn't know, because he's suspended from Instagram right now.
Exactly.
What a guy.
I think he needs a space too. I think that's it.
That's it for today. Now that we've wet your palate, go have something more substantial.
See ya.